So you beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Down in the comment section, which one did you enjoy more and why? Call of Duty Warzone or Call of Duty Warzone 2? I know there's going to be you guys who don't play either. That's fine. I'm kind of speaking to those of you who have at least tried both, and I want your feelings. Now, it's agreed across the board that there are certain changes that have been made in Call of Duty Warzone 2 that people just don't seem to like. For me, it seems a lot more like a traditional battle royale game, but I can definitely say, as someone who loves battle royale games, I think they've pushed the envelope too far in the wrong direction, and there isn't really a healthy balance for people who have come over from the original Warzone to come in this game and feel like they've made a transition from Warzone 1 to Warzone 2 and those games are actually connected. It genuinely seems like they've kind of gone for a brand new title with Warzone 2 and brought out a brand new game, which I suppose is a pressure that they may be under in terms of development, because they've kind of marketed it as a brand new game, which I personally feel was a stupid idea anyway. But this is Activision. They've got to get that coin irrespective of what they do. But today we've had some changes that we kind of told we weren't going to get in Call of Duty Warzone 2, which would insinuate that a lot of the dialogue we've had from Infinity Ward, they're going back on their own word. Now, for those of you who have played Modern Warfare 2019, you will understand that these guys are probably the most stubborn developers we have when it comes to the likes of Call of Duty, and taking on feedback without taking it personal and trying to implement that into Call of Duty for the greater good of the entire game. Often they will point the finger back at the community and say, you guys are a vocal minority and what you say isn't running true or ringing true for the rest of the community. It's something we often hear to try and dismiss our objective opinions. Today in the patch notes, they have a few things in there, but they have specifically changed 3 things that I'm going to bring to your attention right now. The buy stations, they've reduced the cost of primary loadout weapons to $2,500, down from $5,000. They've doubled the average number of buy stations per battle royale match, and then the loadout drop that drops for everyone within the game will now drop during the second circle as opposed to the third circle. Now, this would insinuate to me that all of the changes that this vocal minority have been asking for have been implemented because everybody has been saying the same thing. The game is playing far too slow. It's not as enjoyable as the fast and frantic Warzone 1. And even though I do like my traditional battle royale games like PUBG, H1Z1, I like aspects of Fortnite, Apex Legends, one thing I can categorically say about Warzone that I enjoyed was the ability to get my loadout and bring weapons that I've got very good at using in the multiplayer aspect of the game that were familiar to me, and being able to utilize those in a battle royale. It was a really unique take on the game that many people know and love. And although I would be on the side of the fence where I thought you was able to get your loadouts just slightly too early, I loved the fact that you could do it. So it makes sense with them making these changes because it's starting to push the needle back in the correct direction, but not too far. And bringing in the loadouts a lot quicker as well is going to speed up the intensity of the first few rounds of the game, which can only be good for Warzone 2. And a lot of this has to be down to the amount of players that have started to leave the game. I've shown you guys the likes of how many players have disappeared off Steam playing Warzone 2. It's probably just over 50%, and I would say that would correlate with the PlayStation and Xbox community also, just because of the particular changes that Infinity Ward have chosen to make with this game. There's a few people in the Call of Duty circle that had the luxury of playing this game in an earlier build, and they gave their feedback to the likes of Activision and Infinity Ward, and it obviously fell on deaf ears because, again, these guys are classed as the vocal minority. But today we've seen Charlie Intel giving their point of view as to why do we have to go through this same particular cycle. Exclusive Ace has said something that really resonates with me, and I'm someone that really likes Ace. I feel like he tries to be down the middle and gives an objective point of view, and he said this seems to be a common COD theme lately: replace things that people love or at least have never had complaints about with something completely new that has immediate obvious flaws, only to walk back the changes long after they've lost a lot of players that hated the changes. And these are the things that happen to Call of Duty. Well, it seems like every single year to me. We seem to endure changes that we don't like the experience of, and then the next game is affected by those changes because certain people feel like they may see those changes come in the next game. Like me personally, I absolutely hated Modern Warfare 2019, and I thought we would see certain changes made off the back of that game in the likes of Modern Warfare 2, just to push the agenda and the envelope that bit further. But it obviously seems like, to me at least, I could be wrong here, it's just my opinion at the end of the day, the fact that we're seeing so many people not play either of these games would dictate to me everything they try to bring over from the likes of Modern Warfare, apart from the movement, as pee people off. And people just don't want to play these games anymore. So for me, it's kind of like if we go back to Call of Duty World War II, I didn't like the divisions. I hated them. I thought it was too restrictive. I left the game and stopped playing it and stopped uploading it. And then 6 months later, was it Raven Software that came in and totally revamped that game? And a lot of you guys told me, coming to my channel, that the game played so much better, I should give it another chance. But by then, they had already lost me, and it seems like Call of Duty is making this same mistake year in, year out, because they don't want to listen to the very people that buy this game year in, year out, and probably are the most qualified people to tell, or at least advise, these developers as to where they're going wrong with their game and why these people think there's certain things that have been implemented that probably aren't going to work when it comes to the longevity of this game. Right now, we definitely have some developers that I believe are allowing their ego to overrun and override in this game and not make it reach its full potential, whether that's the multiplayer aspect of the game or Warzone 2. But with these changes, it's definitely a positive outlook. Let's hope that they continue to let that ego go and start making some decent changes so we can actually play the Call of Duty that we should have played at the start of this cycle. Guys, down in the comment section, let me know your thoughts and feelings about this video, and especially what I said at the start. Guys, the remaining buttons you could hit, but the like and subscribe button, I'll update to your fancy. And as always, guys, don't forget to stay on the right track. Peace.